have with me Dr. Deepak Chopra, who's the co-founder of Seva.Love, and Yonathan, who's the CEO of InfiniteWorld. And the conversation today is to really talk about a partnership between Seva.Love and Infinite, and really powering the technology behind this NFT for Good initiative. But before I really get started, I know the big buzz today is about the metaverse, and Facebook changed the name to Meta. But I really wanted to talk to the person, Dr. Chopra, who wrote the book, Meta Human. And Deepak, your vision behind Seva.Love, and I know you're really championing this whole movement around the metaverse. Why now and why metaverse?
Okay, so I think the goal here is to see how Seva.Love can actually not only be the leader in NFTs for good, non-fungible tokens for good. Good means anything that helps create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world, but also anything that improves our capacity for well-being and our capacity for creativity, insight, intuition, imagination, higher vision, and transcendence. Coming back to the whole meta inquiry and the whole meta conversation that's happening right now, the word meta means beyond. So meta-human, which happens to be also on my desk right now, meta-human means beyond human. And so what does that mean? Well, what does it mean to be human today? To be human today is to be very conflicted. Everything is conflicted and polarized. Politics, extreme nationalism, the conflicted, divided human mind has created a situation where many people are saying we are 1 minute away from midnight, 1 minute on the Earth clock in cosmic time, 1 minute before extinction. The last extinction was 65 million years ago when a meteorite fell on this planet Earth and wiped out the dominant species, dinosaurs, within a few days, or at the most a few weeks, some within a few hours, the dominant species on this planet. Had that not happened, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation. So we emerged as a result of the extinction of a dominant species on our planet. Right now, the dominant species on our planet is what we call Homo sapiens. The word actually means the wise ones. We were humble enough to give ourselves that name, the wise ones, Homo sapiens. But Homo sapiens have created nuclear weapons, have created cyber warfare, have created poison in the food chain, have created climate change, and the mutations that go with climate change, the pandemics. Homo sapiens has created social injustice, economic injustice, racial injustice, economic injustice, and mechanized ways of extinction, mechanized, of killing each other, etc. Now, this to me sounds almost insane. And the fact that we're sleepwalking to our extinction as humans is insane. So unless we evolve to the next stage of our evolution, I think we're screwed, basically. There are one or two choices: either embark on meta-human adventures in the metaverse, and I'll tell you what they are. Or, if you're okay with the extinction, why don't you go to the bar and get drunk? And that will at least amplify the denial and make it more comfortable. But right now is a crisis, and that crisis is we are sleepwalking ourselves to extinction. As I walk the streets of New York, I see happy students, NYU, everybody is going around as if life is normal. In a way, that's good, because if they knew the truth, they wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Honestly, the truth is very compelling right now. So what is meta-human? When I wrote this book, Meta-Human, I was thinking of the awakened human mind, the awakened human consciousness. So we are no longer biological robots. The current experience of being human is you're a biological robot, you're an algorithm. and you're predictable. You're a bundle of conditioned nerves and reflexes constantly being triggered by people and circumstance into totally predictable outcomes. Somebody says something nice to you, you're flattered for the rest of your life. Some next corner, somebody says something mean to you, you're offended for the rest of your life. In other words, you can push any button in a human and get any response you want if you know how to do it. And that's what's happening. Now, manipulation is happening by pressing our predictable buttons. And those predictable buttons have to do with the economic crisis, with the, all the other crises that I mentioned, including the crises of suicide and mental depression and violence and climate change. All of that put together is today's human. Meta-human means we go to the source of all experience, source of all experience. And that source of all experience is basically the experience of our body. Body is an experience. The experience of our mind. The mind is a changing experience. Experience of our emotions. Emotions are an experience. Perception. Perception is an experience. What we don't realize is these are all learned phenomenon as a result of the hypnosis of social conditioning that has been going on for 40,000 years. Religious conditioning, economic conditioning, racial conditioning, ethnic conditioning, every possible kind of conditioning that you can think of, economic as well, all the experiences of our ancestors. So it's a big challenge to wake up from this conditioning because we think this is reality, but in fact, this is a projected mind that we are seeing as what we call reality. What we call everyday reality as a perceptual experience is a projection of our conflicted mind. Now, if we could shift our identity to the source of all experience, which means source of sensations, sense perceptions, images, feelings, and thoughts, if we could transcend to that level and our identity became the source of experience, then we have a completely new realm of experience to tackle. That experience would come from a meta-human, an awakened mind that knows that our true identity is infinite possibilities, that our true identity is unpredictable. We're not biological algorithms. If we go to the source, we're creative. So our true identity is infinite possibilities, infinite unpredictability, infinite creativity, and as a result of that infinite creativity, infinite imagination, insight, intuition, higher cause, transcendence, and the ability to change our body, mind, and our experience of the universe. So usually we identify with the body, mind, but the body, mind is a changing experience that starts as a fertilized egg, ends with death. In between zygote, embryo, baby, toddler, teenager, young adult, mature adult, old adult, dusty death. Okay, that's the path of the human. But the path of the meta-human would be infinite possibilities, infinite creativity, unpredictability, and basically the creation of our own reality. So what would that reality be? That would be metaverse. And metaverse would have many lokas. Lokas is a Sanskrit word which means locations. But these are locations in space-time, multi-dimensional locations in space-time that are reflections of the multi-dimensional infinite mind, which is the source of all experience. I'm glad we are talking to an organization called Infinity because that's all there is. Infinity is the fundamental basis of everything that's finite. We cannot imagine the infinite because the infinite is formless, the infinite is irreducible, the infinite is without cause, the infinite is not subject to birth and death, and the infinite, being formless, can morph itself into any body, mind, and any metaverse. So as we engage in understanding the principles of meta-human, there are about 30, 40 principles of meta-human. We look at the possibilities, which are infinite, and then we have the ability to create metaverses, not just metaverses with infinite lokas. And by the way, today's science is suggesting, in fact, that we live in an infinite universe with infinite other versions of the universe and infinite multi-dimensions, if we can understand that, then these infinite lokas will be playgrounds for us to navigate first, to create a better, more peaceful, compassionate, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. That's the first step. But then there are other adventures of creativity, other adventures to create a new economy, other adventures to democratize well-being, other adventures to democratize the emergence of new art, new science, new technologies, and technologies where we complement each other's strengths, where we have shared emotional and spiritual connection, but also have a shared vision. So when you bring maximum diversity, shared vision, complementing everybody's strengths in education, in entertainment, in information technology, in science, in biology, in mathematics, in storytelling, in songwriting, and in any expression of joy, then we have an adventure ahead of us. I see a new paradigm, or many paradigms being born across the seas of our inner space is the realm of infinite possibilities. And we have adventures awaiting us that even Homer never dreamed of, or even the sages of the Upanishads never dreamed of, or even the great prophets never dreamed of. Today we have the technology, we have the wherewithal, we have the knowledge. All we need is a new story. That's my short understanding of what it means to be metahuman and what metahuman adventures could do in the metaverse, and how NFTs and everything else you're talking about would fit in a new paradigm. The old paradigm, celebrities, corporations, governments, national leaders, that's gone. It needs a death, and a new death with a total death, not just a partial death. It means a total death and a new resurrection into a new reality. That's it.
Thanks, Deepak. I think, Yonathan, I think you have the best elevator pitch you needed for Infinite World, right? I think you could not have gotten it better. Why Infinite World? You know, it's interesting. Nothing is an accident. Deepak talks about synchronicity, and I think our partnership and collaboration started off really to kind of look at how do we bring the best of both worlds? Why recreate the wheel? Let us focus on what we're good at. Why don't you kind of share your, as a co-founder and as a founder and CEO of Infinite World, your vision for Infinite World, the metaverse, and then I think we can get into a little bit of a couple of questions I had for you.
First of all, thank you for the invite. Such an honor to be with you, Deepak and Punecha. Deepak, we have an open marketing role, if you want, for Infinite. So no, thank you so much. So my name is Yonathan Lapchik. I'm the CEO of InfiniteWorld. And so we started 4 years ago helping brands become more transparent through the use of blockchain technologies, right? How you interact with physical assets and create stories of them on how they are being manufactured. And those stories are truly important for individuals today. What started as traceability only migrated into authenticity. They want to be able to show that products were authentic or not only that they were transparent. And that's when we started playing between this physical to virtual. Like if you want to be able to create a digital asset, a digital shoe, for example, and being able to link it to the physical shoe, then you're dealing with NFTs, because now you can create a title, you can transfer ownership, you can actually claim something, you can report them as stolen. And without even knowing, we were helping the same brands that were dealing with physical assets to be able to bridge them into this virtual world. Now, I wanted to stop on one comment that you made, Deepak, around the negativity and everything that's happening in this world, that's negative. And for people that really wanted to push that and be able to find a new world, a different world, where they just envision whatever they think or whatever they want. If I want to be able to meet with my best friends right now and ride on a roller coaster, you can create that. You can create a better world with your imagination, and now you have the tool. So really, Infinite is part of the Suku ecosystem that really focuses on helping brands and companies like Seva.Love to bridge that gap, to create that bridge into the virtual world. And we provide infrastructure for the metaverse. NFTs is a huge part of it, but then also being able to create utilities for those NFTs to go and create those experiences that you were describing, Deepak, on the metaverse. So really excited about our partnership with Seva.Love. And it's really the use, trying to use technology for the good, right? Using technology to make a true impact in this world, which is something that our team has been sharing for a long time. And it's been difficult, right, to see the impact right away of your actions, of just a team building a product. And Seva.Love is an incredible example, and we are truly excited to be part of your family.
So Jonathan, before we shift to whatever else we're shifting to, I think the key for people to realize is, see, I'm in New York City. I walk the streets, I look at the Empire State Building, and I said, that's a physical thing. That's not a virtual thing. But actually, that Empire State Building started in imagination. Now it's there. Okay. Now I look at Statue of Liberty or Wall Street or money. It all started in imagination. It all started in imagination. So we say everything that we call the regular physical world at the moment with modern human civilization started in imagination. But then I look at the sun and the moon and the stars and the Milky Way galaxy, and I said, that did not start in imagination. That was there. Not true. That also was a sensation, an image, a perception in human consciousness, which was then given a story called the Milky Way galaxy. A story, the sun, the moon. A story, this is my body. So in the end, everything that we call, including the physical universe, is the imagination of ourselves. And if we understand this, then that shoe, which is a virtual shoe, that shoe or dress, which is a virtual dress, that currency, which is a virtual currency, ultimately acquires a physical dimension to it. And we call it physical, but it is still part of the metaverse. So once we understand that everything is the imagination of ourselves, then I don't even distinction. There's no distinction between what is virtual, what is real. The manifest and the unmanifest go together. So that's why your name is very apt, Infinity. Okay.
So from just a leading question to this, from a technology perspective, Yonathan, let's kind of talk about how do you see the metaverse? Everybody's getting involved in it, right? Facebook, Microsoft, you name it, Epic.
Copycatters, all copycatters.
They're all getting into the metaverse right now. So when you look at the looking glass of the metaverse and you look at companies like Decentraland and the Sandbox, kind of paint me a vision of how do you see, because for me, I look at this as the early days when I started my career in early 1990s, when Sprint couldn't call AT&T and AT&T couldn't call Verizon, you couldn't travel remotely with your phone, there was no interoperability. Then came about local number portability. So today we look at that's really all happening even in the NFT world, right? Different networks need to talk to each other. Paint me a vision of how you see the future evolve in the metaverse from a technology landscape perspective.
Great question. I think if we believe, and I think we do believe, certainly on what Deepak is telling us about this metaverse, this virtual and physical, where it's impossible to distinguish, there's one virtual world, right? There's only one, right? And you have like subsets, you have like different mini worlds inside of it, but it's really difficult to paint the picture of one organization controlling that virtual world. It's like, who's the owner of planet Earth?
Right.
We all are. And that's Web3. Like Web3 basically is telling us that going from Web 2, where you have organizations owning data and owning information, now Web 3, we are the owners of the internet, right? All of us collectively in a decentralized fashion, we can become the owners of our data, our products, and everything that happens through it. So, I mean, obviously bias aside, because I'm in this space because of decentralization, because I truly believe in the power of decentralized systems. Really, I see a world where the metaverse is decentralized. I think Facebook and other centralized organizations are going to have a very hard time because of what you're saying, Punach, around interoperability.
Right.
Like when you mix the business models around being a centralized authority and being able to create these virtual experiences across the world, and where you can use, like, if I'm buying a book on this site, then why is that the only site where I can read the book, right? The ownership paradigm changed with NFTs and everything around authenticity. So I think I see a world where Decentraland is going to be able to talk to the sandbox and all these different systems, but everything should be open. That's the only way where we can replicate this physical world into only one virtual world.
Love that. I think in our vision, I think together to work towards is our goal is to create Seva.Land, a land where everybody is basically rewarded for selfless service and based on love in action. And I think that's going to be the mantra for the Seva.Love as a platform. And you said something very powerful. The Web3 is enabling the owner economy versus renter economy. The renting economy is Web 2.0. When the large organizations set the threshold, a book should be so-and-so, a track should be so-and-so. You should have X amount of influencers, then I'm going to reward you. And the Web3 is all about community, what Deepak calls Sangha. I think that is the real big paradigm shift. And I'm really, really excited to kind of make this collaboration work with InfiniteWorld, and the best is yet to come. I think as we evolve the roadmap together, I think I'm looking forward to our partnership. Deepak, any parting thoughts on your love in action? You want to share your principles?
Only one thing is, I've always maintained that love without action is irrelevant, and action without love is meaningless. But when you do it, love in action, the whole world gets involved. And what Yonathan said, very important. These big corporations, including medical establishment, they come very late into the game, and then they want to own it, like just integrative medicine. We've been talking about it 50 years now. All the universities are interested. Same thing with metaverses, meta tokens, meta humans. We've been talking about 50 years, and actually ancient wisdom traditions have been talking about it for a few thousand years. And now suddenly the corporations want to own it. Like, you want to own the air. It's so ridiculous. This is air, US airspace, and this is Chinese airspace. Cut up the air, and then you think you can get rid of COVID because the airspace respects COVID-19, or the airspace respects the divisions of the oceans or the waters or the earth. Those trees are our lungs. Those earth is recycling as our body. We don't own the earth owns us. And ultimately, no one owns anything. And all we can do with this new adventure is give people who actually produce the work, the art, and the genius behind them some sense of reward, and ultimately actually make every corporation irrelevant.
Thank you, Deepak. On that note, Yonathan, thank you for your time. Look forward to our partnership. And I know we have a big drop coming on November 30th. Excited and grateful to your team. And I think we're also pushing the envelope about portability. So excited for the partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Yonathan. Thank you very much. Thank you, Punach.
Thanks, Deepak.
Bye-bye. Bye.